All right, I guess it'd be appropriate before we start.
Okay.
For me,
Oh, you're drinking my coffee.
I'm drinking your coffee. This is
I like it.
fantastic.
Thank you.
How'd you make this?
Well, so I roast my own coffee. So you're drinking a medium roast.
Yeah.
You're drinking a Mexican organic with a Brazilian and Ethiopian blend.
So Mexican beans.
Mexican beans, Ethiopian beans, and Brazilian beans. They come to me green, and I roast it in a drum roaster. I have a 2-pound drum roaster, and I roast it up, and then I bring it to market on the weekend. So during the week, I roast the coffee. On the weekends, I bring it to market.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do you do that? Where does this operation happen?
The operation happens in a commissary kitchen in Vero Beach. I just signed a lease for a storefront up in Sebastian.
Nice.
So.
Well, are you? So will you continue doing this after the storefront?
Yes, I'll
Nice.
continue doing it because I'm trying to grow the business.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is here, my goal here is to use, first of all, people to like my coffee. If they
Right.
like it, great, and I'm selling it. So I'm selling bags of my coffee, and then they can shoot or get the QR code from the side and then go to my website and then order coffee online from me.
Right.
So basically the storefront that I just leased is going to have, it's going to double as a coffee production facility
Nice.
and a cafe. So I'll be there roasting my coffee all day long, and you can come in, talk with me, talk about different roasts, different blends, take bags of coffee home with you, order a cup of coffee, mochaccino, flat white, cappuccino. So I'm going to have a whole facility up in Sebastian.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really cool. And then do you a coffee house, cafe?
Yeah, basically.
And like those places, that's a place that people congregate.
Yes,
and hang
so
out.
people can congregate, people can come in, have a cup. I'm looking to turn and burn because it's not a big spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to have 10 seats, but you're welcome to hang out and talk with me and see how I'm making the coffee, how I'm producing it. That's really what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into the coffee game?
So coffee found me.
Yeah.
Yeah, coffee found me. So I'm a product of Florida from the COVID.
Right.
So COVID actually brought me to Florida
From?
from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Right, so what happened was my aunt passed away August of 2019. And she basically, to shorten the story a little bit, she left me her estate in Vero Beach.
Okay.
Then COVID happened in spring of 2020.
Right.
And my boss says, well, what are you going to do? I was a poker dealer in Las Vegas for 20 years.
Wow. A lot of cool stories about that, I bet.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
But I met a lot of cool people too. However, boss says, well, what are you going to do? We're shutting down the casino. Nation's shutting down.
Right,
I said,
right,
well,
right.
I got to go to Vero Beach, Florida, and I got to prep some stuff because I'm going to rent out the house. Well, 3 or 4 weeks in, I'm working on prepping the house. I got the contractors in there. They're scraping down the ceilings. And I don't have my mail forwarded to me in Vero Beach. So my mail is still going to my address in Las Vegas. And the next thing you know, I pop open the review journal, and the review journal says 2,500 employees to be laid off of Red Rock, which is where I worked.
And you weren't getting mail, so you didn't know this was
I had
happening.
no idea.
You found out about it.
Yeah, just like that, reading the paper.
Yeah.
So I called some of my friends back home, and I'm like, hey, did we just get laid off? And they're like, yeah, as a matter of fact, you did. So I'm like, to the contractors in the house, hey, guys, stop.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I was like, guys, stop. No more work. I don't know what's happening. And that was like I said, I think that was like 3 or 4 weeks in. It could have been a month or two in. But anyway, that was like May. And
2020?
Like, yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm walking the beach every day. I see that I'm free to do whatever I want. And my friends back home were like, oh, it's nuts back here. We're riding our bicycles down the strip. The strip is empty.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. I'm like, well, okay. I'm walking the beach here every day. I don't have to wear a mask every day.
Right,
I mean,
right.
In certain places I do, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty, it makes sense what he's doing because nobody knows anything at this point.
Right.
So that happens, and I get a call in July, and I'm still in Vero Beach, and I get a call in July that says, hey, would you come back to work? So I said, okay. So I went back for the month of August.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for the month, and I was like, well, guys, you know what? I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I said, I've been at this particular casino for 10 years. I said, I think I'm finished. And they're like, well, what do you mean? It's like 10 years, you have full time, you get your benefits. I'm like, I don't know. I said, I was working back in Florida, helping a lady out in the green market, not doing coffee. I was just helping her out with her business. And I happened to meet a coffee lady who was next to her business.
Right.
And so I cashed out of Las Vegas, said, all right, I'm out. Came back over here.
Cashed out.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going back to Florida. I came back over here, continued helping the lady out that I was helping out.
Yeah.
Had no idea what I was going to do. And the coffee lady who was next to the lady I was helping out said, hey, in July of 2021, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
I said, it's November of 2020.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I'm telling you, in July of 2021, I'm going to retire. So in the meantime, I went out and got a dealing job at one of the local card rooms. So I started working as a dealer again in Fort Pierce. And that was
Were
really
the crowds there a little different from Vegas?
They're different, but the disposable income over here is actually better than Vegas. Vegas is a lot of grinders, and I'm in the poker room. People think they're professional, and they're playing very hard, and they're tipping you $1 for every hand. Over here, you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
Maybe you get 5, maybe you get 10. If you're dealing a high limit game, some of these high limit games I'm dealing right now, I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I enjoy it. Yes.
We could do a whole podcast about you dealing poker.
Well, I'm welcome. I'm open to it. I'm open
Cool.
to the idea. But anyway, so now July of 2021 comes around. I'm dealing in Fort Pierce.
Yeah.
July of 2021 comes around. She's like, hey, you ready? I'm like, ready for what? She's like, it's your business is yours. I'm like, okay. And I'm ready to pay the girl like $5,000, $10,000 for the business.
Right. The coffee business is yours.
Yeah. And she's like, well, we haven't talked about what you're going to give me yet. I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, what am I giving her? Like, she's like, how about $2,500 for everything? I was like, so what are you giving me? She's like, I'm giving you all the equipment. I'm giving you my spot in Stewart. I'm giving you my spot in Vero Beach. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, here's $2,500. So now I got the coffee business, and it's July of 2021. Work till October of 2021 at the casino, and on the weekends as selling coffee.
And you were selling like her coffee at that point?
Her coffee. Well, she was flipping coffee, so she's flipping coffee from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, great. Casino that I'm working for says, hey guys, we're closing. Why are we closing?
Yeah.
COVID's over.
Yeah.
Well, gaming laws changed in January of 2021, so we no longer need to be associated with a pari-mutuel. So here in Florida, all poker rooms that aren't Indian run have to be attached to a high-lie building, a dog track. But dog track now in 2021 is illegal.
Yeah.
So they have the ability to move their location. So
Highlight is just a sport that it's like a shell.
Yeah.
Like they have the sport so they can have the casino.
Yep. Basically. Yeah, but they are having highlight matches in there like for like a month out of the 12-month.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, they were. I don't know how legit they were, but they were certainly having highlight matches.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. We're shutting down, and now I'm back out of a job, but I got my business.
Right.
So now I got the business. I'm still flipping coffee. And I'm like, well, I have a lot of time on my hands in the middle of the week. Say, all right, well, I think I'm going to roast coffee. Well, I said, well, how am I going to do that? Well, at the time, everything was really backwards in the nation, and they were giving you more money for cars, for used cars, than they were worth. So I was like, I have 2 cars. I sold my brand new car back to the dealership and got more than I paid for it.
Wow.
And got enough money for the roaster and the beans and everything else, and everything just took off from there. So now I'm roasting, teaching myself how to roast. And that's how coffee found me. Because
That's
I drink 1 coffee a day.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes 2.
Yeah. This is my second, but only because, it's Sunday morning.
Right.
But were there had to have been times where you're like roasted some coffee that wasn't right?
No, it's not. So yeah, see, maybe it's a little burnt, or maybe it's a little light, but you figure it out. I read some books, looked at some YouTube, looked at Rob Who's. I guess he'd be like a coffee representative, or he's got a couple YouTube channels. He wrote a book. He goes to different nations and finds coffee and then talks about coffee. So I start learning about the roast curve and how the roast curve works. And I have software that's attached to my roaster that
Nice.
shows me how the roasting is going. So it's trial and error, a lot of tasting, but then you come up with something that you like. And then you talk to people. I talk to other roasters. So the roaster that was supplying the stand was very free to give me information.
Yeah.
He's like, I get my green beans from a distributor in New York. I get them from there, start there. So I get them in big burlap sacks, 150 pounds per burlap sack or more, and they just come right to the commissary kitchen at this point.
Your beans come in a sack.
In a big sack, like it's a big burlap sack. It would sit about this high off
They
the
just
ground.
show up.
They just, well, you
order
them
Yeah.
like anybody, like from a distributorship. You order them. They come off the bed of a truck, and they sit down on a pallet, and then you have to pick them up and then move them to wherever you need to move them to, and then you roast them. So I have to measure them out before I roast them. I roast at 550 grams per roast.
Yeah.
Because I'm a micro roaster, so I don't roast. You can roast hundreds of pounds at a time in big commercial roasters, but I roast real small right now.
When you roast at a large scale, do you sacrifice taste?
You can, but you're not. I don't know the answer to your question necessarily
Okay.
because I haven't roasted on large scale.
Okay.
So I do know that a lot of the stuff that sits on store shelves, like if you go to Publix or the local grocery store, you're getting stuff off the shelf that could be up to a year old. Here, this coffee movement is kind of equivalent to like the microbrew movement.
Yeah.
So you have guys that microbrew across the country and have little, shops. I mean, Walking Tree is a big one here locally. Sailfish is another one that's big here locally. So you can equate the coffee movement or the micro coffee movement to that.
And you're getting a unique beer in the microbrew,
Right.
or you're getting a unique cup of coffee unique to that.
Or a unique bean.
A unique bean, yeah.
you get a unique bean and you're getting it fresh roasted. Like a guy came to the stand today and said, do you have a roast on date for this? And I was like, well, no, I don't. But actually, I'm the roaster and I roast everything that you're sitting on the stand here has been roasted in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
So it's getting super, super fresh.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well,
And then, I mean, that, if something can sit on a shelf for a year, either you're losing
you're losing flavor.
you're probably losing caffeine.
It could be.
And then, or there's something in it that keeps it good for a longer period of time, which you don't want.
Right. And that's the other thing. So my decaf is a water process, so it's all naturally water processed, and that means all naturally decaffeinated. So you don't have the chemicals when I decaffeinate. That's a positive. I use organic beans. That's a positive. Also, talking about caffeination, most people don't know that the longer you roast, the more caffeine you take out of a bean. So if you
Right.
have a darker roast coffee, you're replacing the caffeine with a roasty flavor. The flavor's more robust sometimes, but the caffeine's not there.
Well, that's the thing you hear people say all the time. Oh, this is a strong cup of coffee.
Right.
Well, but they think because it's like black.
Right.
And like
And
tastes-
bitter, it's got a lot of caffeine in it. No, it's actually the opposite. So the shorter the roast,
Like a blonde.
has more caffeine than a dark roast.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about espresso?
Espresso is you roast it really dark, but then the way you extract the coffee from the roast is how you get the strength of the shot, because it's a different kind of extraction.
Okay.
So you ever seen an espresso machine?
Yeah.
Where you clip in and you put the cup underneath, and then you suck up and you're sucking up the juice.
Yeah.
So when you're sucking up that juice, it's just a more concentrated juice. So you're getting all of it in like a micro shot.
Right.
But that's different than the roast process. The roast process is just an espresso bean is longer roasted, but it's a more concentrated shot. So you're getting more concentrated coffee.
Very good.
At that time.
So you get a shipment of beans, and then what exactly has to happen, and how long does it take to roast?
Well, each roast takes between 11 to, I would say, 15 minutes, depending on how dark I roast.
Okay.
So the longer the roast, the darker the bean.
Are they in like an oven?
Well, it's a drum roaster. It goes around
Okay,
and around
okay,
and
yeah.
around and around. It's called the company I use is called Aleo Bullet, and it's a small, like I said, drum roaster. I mean, they can make big drum roasters too, but some of these guys, I mean, when you talk about Maxwell House or commercial roasters, they're using 100-pound coffee machines
Mm-hmm.
where they're sitting there, and It's an 11-minute thing, but the machine is huge, from tree to tree.
Yeah.
And it sits right there. And it's gas, and it's heating the bean and moving the beans around in a circular motion. I use an electric small drum roaster.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get bigger as I get bigger, but right now this makes a nice bean. For the volume of business that I do, it's perfect.
Do you ever like stop and say, "What the hell am I? I'm a poker dealer. Now I'm selling coffee."
Right. I've said it to myself. Well, I said it to myself all the time. I'm like, it's like this river that I'm following. Like, so stepping back into that story, I'm leaving Las Vegas in September of 2020 out of McCarran Airport, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm leaving my friends. I'm leaving because I don't have any kind of issues with anything. Like, I'm not really a drinker. No drugs. Occasionally I chew a gummy, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
I don't smoke. And I'm getting on a plane. I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing? Because I've been at this casino for 10
It's not
years.
like you need to get out of Vegas because you're
right.
You know, you got hookers every night.
Exactly. I'm not out late every night. I'm usually in bed by 9 o'clock. People who know me, they're like, you don't go out. You don't do very much. I mean, yeah, I have my friends. We go out and have a drink or two, but I'm home by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Right. I'm not chasing people around all night long.
Right.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm getting on this plane. I'm like, well, what the heck am I doing? Because I have all my friends here. Everything's here. My life is here. I love the topography of the West. Like, there's nothing about, we could talk about Vegas for hours.
Mm-hmm.
I love Vegas. I love stuff that doesn't even pertain to the Strip. We could talk about hikes in Vegas. We could talk about the Colorado River in Vegas. We could talk about jet skiing in the desert on jet skis. Like,
yeah.
People like jet ski in the desert. Yeah, you can jet ski in the desert.
That's
down
cool.
the Colorado River. I can go from Laughlin, Nevada, which is an hour and a half south of Las Vegas, all the way down into Lake Havasu, which is in Arizona.
Yeah.
And you touch Arizona, you touch California, and you can be in San Bernardino County on the back of the Colorado River. And it's kind of interesting. But like I said, we're getting off topic a little bit, but there's a whole bunch of stuff.
The point is,
right.
You're getting on a plane. You're not running away from anything.
No.
It's just like you're just kind of going with the flow.
Something said, go to Florida.
Yeah.
Go to Florida. Everything's going to work out. And I came to Florida, and to date, everything has worked out. I mean, July 1st, I'm opening a storefront. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Okay. Let's open the storefront. It's happening quicker than I wanted. Like, I wanted to roast. I wanted the business. But she told me 10 months ahead of time, I'm going to give you this business.
Right.
And then I wanted to roast, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to roast maybe, I don't know, but the casino closing dictated when I started roasting. Because I was like, well, I have all this time on my hands, so I'm going to start roasting faster or sooner rather than later.
Right.
Right? I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm roasting. And then I was under the Cottage Food Act, and I was roasting out of my house, but then the HOA said, well, no, we don't want you roasting here anymore, so can you find a different way to roast? So now I'm roasting in a commissary kitchen, which allows me to go business to business, and I'm under the Department of Ag in Florida. And I said, well, if I'm going to roast in a commissary kitchen, why not just get my own spot? So I started searching, and wouldn't you know, I'm driving around looking for a spot, and I'm in Sebastian, because I do live in Vero, so I'm not far from me is Sebastian, just to the north. And I'm looking at a spot, and this cafe just went out of business.
No way.
Well, turns out, didn't go out of business. She had a bad relationship with the owner, and they kicked her out. And they said, yeah, you want the shop? I said, yeah, sure. They said, well, how about $2 a square foot? $2 a square foot's unheard of.
Yeah. For a storefront.
For a storefront that butts up against US 1. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I signed the lease, and they're giving me 2 months free rent. I get the keys May 1st into the store, hopefully by July 1st, as long as my construction bills.
Worst case scenario, you have a place that is your own to brew, to
roast coffee and brew coffee.
Right. So, that's a win.
And it is.
And then if people come sit down, fantastic.
Fantastic. So hopefully they come in, they like my coffee, they get to know me, they like the coffee. And I mean, if they just want a cup of coffee, because I'm going to have a drive-up window. So if they want just a cup of coffee, come in, come out. Because they just right off of Route 1, make a right into the parking lot. The window's right there. You order off the app. You pick up your cup of coffee, and you leave.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
Not to get too, woo-woo about life in the world.
Right.
But do you think, there's something to be said about just kind of saying, well, this is crazy, but I'm just going to go with it?
There's something to be said about that. Sometimes it's life is kind of like a rhythm.
Yeah.
You're asking my opinion. Life is kind of like a rhythm or a river, and you get in it. And once you're in it, it's like these things start happening that like you've been asking for.
Right.
Like for years, I don't get me wrong, love Vegas. I love what I was doing, but I was like, man, am I wasting my time just being a poker dealer?
Right.
Because I could do so much more, and I had so much more ambition.
I have more to give to the world.
So, okay, get on this plane. The world says get on the plane.
The world says get on the plane, and then if you find yourself at a market and some lady next to you says, I'm going to get rid of this place.
Yeah, I'm going to sell my coffee business.
So are you going to just keep your mind and yourself open to what the world has to offer?
Of course, all the time. I'm always open to that, but I'm always listening. So
That's a practice that has to be mastered.
yeah, and you have to, and you really have to stay focused in on it and just pay attention to what's going on. I mean, again, not to get too woo-woo with the world, but body, mind, and spirit are all one together. I'm not a religious person, but there's something greater.
There is.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So do you believe in the laws of attraction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't think it needs to be. There's people that don't even know the laws of attraction. They live by it.
Right.
It's just like a law of nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's
If you
awesome.
put it out there and you believe in it, it's going to happen.
Well, you can create the universe that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
Perception is reality.
Right.
Well, if you perceive everything to be negative, then you're going to attract and things are going to be negative. If you're positive, if you're
I agree.
open to opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like what my stance on this thing, because I don't know where this is going to go or what
Right.
what it's about. I just texted my buddies. I'm like, I just interviewed a lady that must be over 80 about her straw hats that she makes.
Right.
I don't even know why I'm here doing this, but it's cool. And
you are.
Yeah.
And you don't, but something told you to do it, so you did it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
like
cool,
I said,
man.
I was on a plane. I was shitting my pants.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I getting into here? Because I didn't know. But then I get here and everything is, I mean, there are peaks and valleys, but everything is working out exactly the way I want it to work out
Right.
to date.
And that might necessarily not even mean that like you have like you wanted on the things to happen a certain way, but
Right.
If you submit yourself to the fact that like things are going to happen
Mhm.
regardless of whether or not you like want them to happen or not. So if you're like you embrace your fate,
Mm-hmm.
then like whatever happens is going to be great.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Dude,
Yeah. I'm just like, all right, here it comes.
what a talk.
Yeah.
Good man. Cool. Well, I think there's so much more to be said
Mm-hmm.
about your story in general, which I would love to talk about.
Yeah, we could talk. I mean, tell you about all kinds of famous people I met in Vegas,
Who-
from Mick Jagger to Eva Longoria and Tony Parker to Montel Williams to John Wayne Bobbitt to Oral Hershiser.
Who of all the celebrities that you've met, dealt to, whatever, who was the absolute just most down to earth normal person?
Oral Hershiser is a very down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's very, very nice. Yeah, I would have to say, because I spent the most time dealing to him, and he's a all around nice kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What anybody that stood out as just being kind of like a
Well, Jose Canseco's a little cocky.
yeah.
But I mean, he also wrote a book on steroids and PEDs and things like that.
And didn't he fight one of the Pauls or something?
He could have, yeah. I mean, there's a good possibility. He's always out to make a buck at this point. I mean, he shot off his finger with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there when he still had it attached, and I was dealing to him at the table when it was still
Detachable.
yeah, detachable, and it was kind of gross.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
There's that.
Do you any World Series poker stuff?
World Series of Poker. I've dealt to a lot of famous professional poker players. I've dealt to Daniel Negreanu at charity events. I've dealt to Todd Brunson, David Singer, Chow Jang, Eskimo Clark. But those are all older guys. Like at this point, I'm trying to remove myself from gaming. Not that that's kind of the wrong word. I'm just like I'm more focused in on.
You're
coffee.
over it.
Yeah, I'm over it. I mean, gaming's great. But you get wrapped up in it. I mean, it's really like a fantasy world, especially when you watch the amount of money that comes across the table. And not even in poker, because my last 10 years tenure in Red Rock was all small limit stuff. But I did 3 years at Caesar's Palace.
Mm.
And one of those years, they asked me to be in the sports book for the Super Bowl. It was Giants-Patriots Super Bowl. They asked me to be in the sports book, and I was taking bets from across the table, and you should have seen the amount of money. 50,000, 80,000, 210,000. I'm watching these guys come up with bags of.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Baltimore.
Okay.
My family is from, well, my dad's family, they're all Italian. They're from Italy.
Okay.
They came and, they settled in New Jersey.
Okay.
My dad's grandfather had a place in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Forever, specifically during Prohibition.
Uh-huh.
And, you can imagine. And we spent a lot of time there. And
I grew up on the Jersey Shore.
Oh, really?
I grew up in a town just north of Atlantic City called Long Beach Island.
Uh-huh.
And
So they're all from Chambersburg, Trenton.
Okay, Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we could talk about that too. So I grew up on Long Beach Island as a kid. My father, I'm an Italian American.
Mm-hmm.
My father was in the nightclub business.
Nice.
So I know about alcohol.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you want to talk about?
Man, we could just go on and
Yeah.
on. So you're from Jersey?
I'm originally born and raised in Jersey. My parents got divorced when I was young. So my mother lives along the Connecticut shoreline. And my father, like I said, I was born on Long Beach Island. Actually, I was born in Lakewood, New Jersey, because there was no maternity ward in Manahawkin at Soch at the time.
Yeah.
Born in Lakewood, raised on LBI, but then my mom and dad, it didn't work out like it does for so many people, right? Their generation was over it. Like the generation before, my grandparents' generation were like together no matter what.
Right.
But their generation was like, well, fuck it.
Die miserable.
Yeah. That was the grandparents.
Yeah.
Now this generation of my parents' generation was like, well, if we're not happy, we're just going to get divorced.
Right. Maybe too far the other way.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe too far the other way. My mom just wanted a family. My father had a nightclub on the Jersey Shore, so you can imagine. And he was like a big fish in a little pond.
Right.
And, unfortunately, I broken home, but like I would go visit my father every other weekend. We would do lots of vacations all over the place.
Yeah.
From Puerto Rico to the mountains to out west when I was a kid growing up to, man, there's just so many vacations, so many things that we did.
Experience.
Right, there's so much experience. 'Cause at that time, it was upper middle class. I was growing up upper middle class. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Now,
what year did you graduate high school?
1996.
1996.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, fantastic time.
Yeah.
In America.
It was a really great
the
time.
90s is like, people were cool enough that they were kind of treating each other decent,
Right.
but there wasn't so much just kind of like PC BS.
Oh my God! The PC stuff is out of control at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, to date right now, what's happening? I mean, look at what's happening with Bud Light and that bad PR move.
Yeah.
Bad PR move. I'm not saying anything about the move itself, but I mean, from a marketing standpoint, that was probably one of the worst things.
Yeah, it's a weird move to make. It's a weird decision to make for Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch.
You're trying to include 100 people, but you're going to exclude millions and millions and millions.
Right. What are you hoping that what percentage of the people that don't care? I think there's way more people that care than don't. And it stands for more than what the person that represents. It stands, at this point, stands for way more.
Right.
And then you've got, speak of PC and craziness, Italian-American.
Yeah.
Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario just came out.
Yes.
Do you see this?
I didn't see it yet.
John Leguizamo,
Okay.
who isn't Italian, will not see the movie because Chris Pratt, who isn't
An Italian.
an Italian.
Oh, right. He is an Italian, but won't see the
John
movie.
Leguizamo's mad. He's Hispanic. He's not Italian.
He's not Italian.
No.
But he won't watch it because the actor is not Italian?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right,
It's
come
crazy.
on.
He played Luigi. John Leguizamo played Luigi. We should be mad that John Leguizamo, under that,
Right. Because
like,
we're Italian-American
right,
people. Right.
he should be canceled for playing Luigi. How dare he?
Yeah, right. You're not Italian.
So, but that's the problem with all of it is that there's no logic.
Right.
And it's just like it's an Olympics of who can be most offended.
Right. I don't understand this world today. Can't we just live, love, and get along?
Can't we just roast coffee and go to the shop and just chill and drink?
Drink coffee.
Everybody likes coffee.
Everybody likes coffee.
And poker.
And poker, right. Everybody coffee and poker.
Do you think dealing poker, you are you're lying, you're using body language, you're you're posturing, you're peacocking, you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You're so there's a lot of different human elements happening.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting there and watching all of poker for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and just all these different people play this game in a different way. Do you think that taught you a lot about humanity and like
It
people?
taught me a lot about life in general, but at the same time, I learned a lot about poker too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be said by just watching.
Right.
Watching, in general, people. Right?
Yeah, they squirm or they.
Right. I mean, but even when you're talking to somebody or you watch their body language, I mean, and you pick up on different things as you watch somebody. If somebody's telling you yes, but they're shaking their head no,
Yeah.
they may be lying.
Yeah.
Because their body's telling you one thing and their mouth is saying something else.
Do you think that dealing poker so long has made you a heightened, I don't want to say better or worse, but like heightened sense of
Sense of
character?
awareness?
Yeah.
It does give you a heightened sense of awareness, and you get a sense of what's happening.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, yeah, you just gotta watch. I mean, less talk and more watching, and more trying to understand would actually be better for the society as a general. Trying to understand where each other come, because right now we're so divided.
It's terrible.
It's absolutely off the wall. Like, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that happens politically on the other side, whatever side I'm on.
Yeah.
But
That's the thing.
right. But I try to understand. There's some things I just want to understand. If I don't understand, I don't understand. I say I don't agree.
Right. I think that it's lost. They've done a great job. I mean, divide and conquer is a saying because
Right.
it's a thing.
Right.
And it's been a thing forever.
Right.
For human, as far as human history and civilization goes, that the powers that be divide. So it's
Just
like
divide, and then people get stuck on their teams too. Like, right? We get stuck. Okay, we're conservative people. We're liberal people. We're good. That's the way it has to be. We're not going to give any thought to the other side or what they're thinking about. I mean, in lots of spaces you can't get there. You can't bridge the gap. But at the same time, you can start to try to say, okay, well, how are they thinking about this? What are they thinking about?
Well, a great example is like, you know, maybe you're conservative because you believe that people should be able to keep more of the money that they make and they don't want to pay taxes. And that's a conservative thought.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you hate the environment or don't
No,
like gay people.
That's right.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
They're not mutually exclusive. I mean, I believe in hard work.
Right.
I believe you want to go out there, you want to work hard. Now, I believe that, yes, you should be entitled to the money that you make. Now, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be taxed either. I should be taxed. But at the same time, like, I don't understand where we start to blur the lines is like, well, this person can't do it. This person, maybe there are legitimate people that can't do it. But where's the line where you can or you can't do it, okay? And where's the line for personal responsibility?
Personal responsibility is just everything.
Right, but I'm saying to you,
You know, the problem is that you have to be married. You're not being married. You have to say I'm in this or I'm in that. The thing is, I think, and you said it earlier, it's like just about just understand other people, be compassionate, be a human being,
Right.
have conversations.
put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a second. Sure, I 100% agree. Think about what that other person's going through. Sure, I agree. But also have some personal responsibility for what's happening,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's not woe is you. Pick yourself up and do something. If you can.
Yeah.
Do what you can do to make your life better.
Right.
But from the outside looking in, have compassion for whatever people are going through, and when you can help. If
And
you can help,
when you don't have the energy to help, have a cup of coffee.
there you go. All right, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Yep.